Today it's time for a professional match of StarCraft 2, and what I've got for you is a Protoss versus Zerg on Acropolis. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually really looking forward to this one because I can finally record videos again. For those of you unaware, I posted about this on like Twitter and on Facebook, and I actually also made a community post on my YouTube channel. But anyways, I had a wisdom tooth pulled a couple of days ago, so the videos that have been going up over, I guess, the last week on the channel, I prepared those all in advance. It was a little bit stressful at the beginning of September as I was trying my very best to make as much content as I possibly can. I had to take a couple of days off, but the doctor said I should really go ahead and once again get back to, at the very least, exercising my jaw, because as you may imagine, right, I talk quite a bit, and I didn't talk for like 5 days straight. I mean, I will spare you the details, but basically, there were some complications, and there was a lot of drilling involved, and it was rather painful. At the very least, like, it's still a little bit sore, so if my voice sounds just a little bit different, or maybe I sound just a little bit less energetic, at the very least, you know why that is. But I'm feeling much better again, so let's get started with this Zerg versus Protoss. Spawning here in the top left-hand corner of Acropolis, playing with the red Protoss pieces. We're looking inside of the main base of Hero. From, I think his clan tag is Triumphant Sung Gaming? I think that's it, TSG. His opponent in the opposite corner playing with the blue Zerg drones, and actually he's joined by Samwise on the hatchery. Amazing. We have none other than Sue. Alrighty, so I've heard this game is awesome. Let's figure out exactly why that is together. Hero, what are you doing with this cheeky little probe? Where are you going? Ay. Okay, he's certainly gonna plant down a proxy, right? Yeah. I mean, he did already... No, he didn't make the second pylon yet. No, never mind. So he's definitely going to go ahead and proxy the pylon right over here, outside of the main base here of the Zerg player, who currently is completely unaware of what is going on. Hero, of course, a very successful Protoss player. He had most of his tournament victories back in 2013 and 2015, which is a little bit odd to me because I always, in my mind, and this may be just me being a jerk, okay, but in my mind, I always kind of think that he's one of those Protoss players who's not as good anymore. But I just looked it up on a league leg. Hero is actually the current rank 11 in the world. And I feel like I don't cast nearly as many games as he deserves. So we certainly want to keep an eye out on this man. His nickname, by the way, for those of you curious, is the Smiling Assassin. I do like that, the Smiling Assassin. But anyways, the Smiling Assassin currently proxying a Stargate very close towards the main base here of the Zerg player. Soon not opting to go for that fast Overlord speed. One of the upgrades that a lot of the Zerg players have been favoring recently, and that does mean he won't be aware of anything. I mean, he is scouting around right here with a single Overlord in the top right-hand corner of the map. Not really a popular proxy location, to be honest, but I guess there is always the chance that there will be something going on that side of the map. Hero apparently aware as well that there might be an Overlord checking out exactly what's happening. He's probably assuming, though, that the Overlord would be rerouted towards the main base to check out where the second pylon is located. However, the second pylon is located on the other side of the map. Already, Chrono Boost being utilized right there on that very first Oracle. So, of course, the king of second places. If this man would have won every single tournament that he was in the grand finals of, I'm pretty sure he would have been considered to be like one of the best performing players in StarCraft 2, if not the highest performing player in StarCraft 2. He literally has over a dozen second places in premier tournaments. Earlier this year, though, he did end up winning IEM Katowice. He actually took out Hero along the way. I forgot about that, but I just quickly looked it up. Pretty awesome. So, of course, Sue, I mean, even though he's the king of second places, it sounds a little bit mean. He's a ridiculously good player, and he actually earned a lot of money as well, because all of those second places, they do add up. Couple of adepts, though, and I like this. He's actually saving up until the second Oracle, third one even coming up. Couple of adepts are trying to distract these queens. So, yeah, you lose those adepts, but it's fine, because right now the queens, oh my god. Did you see that? He had that Overlord positioned over there. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get out of here. That does mean that the queens can now scramble towards the natural, which is where most of the drones are located, but I don't really know if it matters too much. Already 6 workers have gone down, and I think these 2 are also not gonna live to tell the tale. Nice defense there by Sue. Made the best of a pretty rough scenario. Queued up those spores immediately, ran the drones away, but he still ended up losing 8 of those workers. Zerglings, though, immediately running over towards where those oracles came from. They find the Stargate, and they will be able to prevent this structure from producing anything else. But, I mean, that's already 3 oracles. 3 oracles is enough as well to tank some of the damage of these spore crawlers, because they will be able to zap away at these workers really easily. Now, that was a little bit of miscontrol there. Hero certainly could have had 2 more workers there. I mean, he already got 2, but he could have definitely had, I think, another 2 there if he would have targeted it just a little bit differently. Anyways, as we all know, Zerg pretty good, though, at being defensive, right? I mean, it's mostly all about the follow-up push right now. I'm curious what hero is going to go for here as a follow-up. Apparently, he wants to go for the 3rd base. I actually would have preferred seeing him go for some sort of 2-base push, right? Because he just ended up killing 10 workers, and Zerg has to replace those. And if Zerg is busy replacing workers, they're obviously not making any army units. So I would love to see at least a little bit of pressure. Judging by the amount of gateways, though, I mean, there's only 4 of them in total. Yeah, this is just going to be your pretty standard run-of-the-mill 3rd base timing. But the thing is, I mean, this 3rd base is now about a half minute later than you normally want it to, so that kind of makes up for a lot of the damage that was dealt here by Hero. I still like his position in the game, but look at the drone count, right? And this is what triggers a lot of Protoss players really badly. It's like, yeah, I just killed 10 workers, you blink twice. Zerg is immediately back up to full 3-base saturation. Spire actually coming up, okay. This is a thing that actually Serral has been doing a lot. In pretty much all of his Zerg versus Protosses I've seen recently, and that will be spotted, by the way, but in pretty much all of the Zerg versus Protosses that I've seen Serral play recently, for example from WCS Fall, he has been going for that Spire together with Roaches. So maybe Sue is taking a page right there out of Serral's book. The Spire obviously very good if you know that your opponent doesn't have a Stargate anymore. Normally, this would be the moment where Hero would start producing a couple of Phoenixes. Instead, he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and see if I can push across the map, because if you're investing into what probably is a 4th base as well as the Spire, you're not gonna have that much units or that much of an army here on the ground. But obviously, he's on a timer, because as soon as those mutas do roam the map, this army is gonna have to run home. And judging by the fact there's no prism, there's not a whole lot Hero can do. This is mostly just him trying to force out a lot of units here from Sue, and it's happening, right? Nicely done there. I mean, he's also making a lot of roaches, so that effectively reduces the amount of mutas that he's going to be able to produce here in just a second. Yeah, Sue right now looking around. He's like, bro, you wanted to fight? Where are you? Not the case. 3rd base already coming up, or already done, rather. Gas is coming up there as well. And we do see the High Templar right now, apparently, as the response to the potential of the Mutalisks. So there we go. 8 mutas being queued up, plus 1 melee being utilized here as well. And this is the moment where Zerg can start getting really aggressive. The Oracles, though, still roaming the map. They will spot that the gases here are going to be taken in just, well, as soon as they move over there. But they will be able to spot that the gases are taken, which is a big indication that we will see a focus on Mutalisk here for at least a little while longer. Now, this is brave. That's 2 Immortals in the plane. What are they going to do? Die? Like that? I mean, the Mutas should just be right-clicking on them. On that prism, that is. I think he's going to try and send the Mutas towards the main base here instead, which actually is mostly undefended here for the time being. There is 1 Photon Cannon over at the 3rd, which I do like. The Storm is done, so these High Templar definitely can make a bit of a move. I'm surprised he didn't go after the Prism, but the main base, I mean, there's a little bit of damage that can be done over there, but really not that much. There's no Blink available as far as I'm aware. A couple of Zealots right now also making their way towards the top or right-hand corner, but no damage will be done there as the Roaches were just simply defending. Hero seems to want to sacrifice most of these Oracles at this point, doesn't really care too much about them anymore. Mutas are going to be able to clean up these Zealots, but this is the point where that map control heavily flips from Protoss into the favor of the Zerg, right? This is the moment where Hero really has to start playing defensively. Now, he's a very strong defensive Protoss player, but this is always the moment where I personally get a little bit worried. Look at this. Massive Zerg army waiting just outside of the 3rd base here of Hero. There is a little bit of static defense. These Mutas are pinning this Protoss player back, and Hero, not really... Well, did he see that? I think he did, actually. Yeah, no, he did. I was gonna say, like, he needs to figure out that this push is coming. He does have 4 High Templar inside of that Prism right now, so he can definitely land some beautiful storms. Oh, man. You guys know I love that. That's so sick. Dealing so much damage here to so much of this Zerg army already. Mutas being cleaned up on the left-hand side as well, picking up the weakened Immortal, and Hero defends that easily. Glial Reconstitution, or no, what is it called? Centrifugal Hooks. Not just done, or not yet done. So that does mean that this group of High Templar is having a much easier time. There's still a couple of them remaining as well. +2 coming up right now too for melee. So Sue is now making that transition towards Hive. Now, whenever we go into a late game scenario, right? This is always the moment where I get a little bit anxious if I was the Protoss. Because we've seen a lot of late game ZVP over the last couple of months, and it seems like the Zerg players are just dominating in the late game. Now, I haven't seen actually Mr. Hero here play any late-game Zerg versus Protoss. But, I mean, when you watch someone like, for example, Serral play late-game, I mean, I know I bring him up quite a bit, but honestly, like, if you watch Serral play late-game Zerg versus Protoss, it looks utterly broken. It looks like Protoss has absolutely no chance. And I think the reason for that is that Zerg is extremely good defensively. Like, good luck breaking this, it's not gonna happen. Zerg is very, very good playing defensively, so they can oftentimes force the late game. And if then both players play close to perfect, it's pretty much always the Zerg that comes out on top. At least from what we've seen so far. Now, I'm hoping that Hero has a bit of a different approach here. Great Aspire, by the way, already coming up. But I do think he needs to go for a bit of a push before this Zerg army starts really getting out of hand. Once he starts going into, like, Broodlord Infestor, it's a very difficult army to control and to beat. I do like the fact, by the way, that Hero is expanding differently than what we mostly see in this matchup. Normally we see this is the third base and then this is the fourth. Instead he's expanding right now towards the base that's, I guess, a little bit easier to defend, although the Zerg is also spreading creep in that direction, so we'll see how hard this is gonna be. Anyways, I've seen a lot of late game Zerg versus Protoss recently, and I think pretty much 90% of them went in favor of the Zerg. Ooh, good storms. But does lose a couple of the High Templar as well. Banelings do manage to connect there. They do take 2 storms to be picked off. Still though, that weakened up that Zerg army a little bit. Great Aspire though, just about to finish. Couple of Corruptors coming up as well. These Mutas still flying around. At the same time, we see a couple of Banelings trying to make their way towards the mineral line. And with +2 melee, they will be able to one-shot some of these. So 8 probes do end up going down. This base, relatively vulnerable. Without Broodlords, obviously, this Protoss army is vastly superior. The Broodlords, though, should be able to push most of this army back, but are they gonna be in time? Hero actually still adding on more Immortals, which I really don't like too much for him right now. Beautiful storms once again, though. Those storms dealing so much damage. Su trying to set up an engagement, but this is not gonna happen, right? This choke point is way too powerful. Yeah, that base is toast. Now, 4 Broodlords are coming up. 4 Broodlords, really not that scary. Oh, these storms, dude. These storms are insane. Yeah, no. Beautiful move right there, once again by Hero. Standing his ground. It's very scary to stand on that creep. Couple of Banelings still remain, but good force fields there as well, separating a lot of that army. Couple of the Immortals now also being stormed, but they soften up some of the damage there that those Banelings provided. Prism, though, did get picked off, and I think that this is going to be mostly now this Protoss army pushed back. The Brutes have been spotted, and that's the ultimate counter to this Archon Immortal Storm Zealot Stalker-based army. Now, what's going to be the answer to the Broodlords? So basically, once the Broodlords are out, right, most of the Protoss ground army can be beaten. This is normally the moment where we see Protoss transitioning towards Stargate. However, if Protoss decides to transition towards Stargate, it also immediately means that Zerg has gained a lot of time to go towards Infestors, and Infestors absolutely smash Stargate units in general. Apparently it's gonna be Blink. Ooh, okay. That is a brave choice. So generally, right, Zerg wants to go for about 8 or so Broodlords. 8 Broodlords seems to be the sweet spot. We see him going up to 7 right now. 7 or 8, maybe 10 in total seems to be the sweet spot to basically destroy any Protoss ground army that's based around Archon Immortal Zealot, right? Ooh, those High Templar are so vulnerable. Throwing their little water balloons. They deal like no damage. They do damage with that though. Still. Oh, well, 2 of them get saved, I guess, as they get morphed into an Archon. I'm not a big fan of people transitioning towards Blink, necessarily. Because generally, right, what Zerg can do at that point, if they notice, hey, you're going Blink Stalker to try and counter my Broodlords, they can go up to, like, say, 20 Broodlords. And how are you gonna counter that if you don't have Stargate-based units? There are Stargates coming up right now for Hero. They're a little bit late. Keep in mind, he did end up losing the 3rd Stargate that he once upon a time had, because it was proxied on the other side of the map. Still, though, with the Blink Stalkers, I guess he's buying himself a lot of time, right? He killed, once again, another base. And he's going to be able to head on home while buying himself time with these Stargates. Now, I can guarantee you, this is the moment where Su is going to think about Spellcasters. Late game Zerg Spellcasters, very, very good. Actually, we do need to see that switch right now from him, though. Because otherwise, the Protoss air army is going to be ridiculously good. Oh, the Banelings trying to get so much damage done. Good Blink back there as well. Banelings right now rolling into Immortals, not necessarily what you want. And yeah, they are still standing the ground. Great splits there by Hero, preventing a lot of those Zerg units from just simply surrounding that army. And he certainly once again got a favorable trade. If we look right now at the units lost, look at that. Ooh, ooh. That is a lot of resources that were lost right there in favor of the Protoss, who just lost 10,000 minerals on the dot. So, normally, right? And once again, I know I've said the words normally like a dozen times already, but normally the reason why we see Zerg players going Mutalisk is so they can shut down Prism Harass. Hero has had these Prisms out for a really long time, and they've been doing damage. I really do like this, but Su right now is smelling blood in the water. He wants to move off creep. Now, I'm a little bit hesitant to call that a correct decision. That is a scary amount of Protoss still available, and obviously if the Stalkers can get underneath the Brutes, they can get so much damage done. Queen's getting picked off in the meantime inside of that main base of the Zerg as well. And actually, ooh. So there's actually already 2 of them out. Ooh, okay. So I get excited about this, okay? Because this is not something we've seen before. So his initial response was getting blinking and counterattacking to kill another base that was on the opposite side of the Zerg army, abusing the mobility right there of the Broodlords. Now he's getting himself Void Race. I wonder if that's a response to not seeing any Hydralisk and not seeing any Corruptors either. Okay, here we go. Void Race, not normally the name of the game, but there's really no counter to them right now. Normally we see Protoss players transition towards either Tempests or Carriers, but it's gonna be Void Race. That is very cool. Even now utilizing a couple of these Stalkers inside of the Prism. Ay, that is cute. I love that, that's so cool. And he's buying himself time to get more Void Race out. Now finally getting himself the Fleet Beacon. What an interesting style. Normally what we see, right? Normally there's like a Stargate left over. We see instant Fleet Beacon and then 2 more Stargates. And then immediately Chrono boosting out either Carriers or Tempests. But I guess the downside of doing that is that you give Zerg so much time to go up to Broodlord and Infestor. And that army is just really difficult to beat. I love that instead, Hero has decided to go for a more mobile army initially. And now he seems to be making that transition while trying to keep the Zerg player pinned back. Now, speaking of pinning back though, looks like the bases are in a little bit of trouble. Zerg once again trying to get another base here. Looks like that Nexus will live here for the time being. The ones on the left, or the one on the left rather, also does stay alive. A couple of Zealots apparently managed to get a couple of kills here over on the right-hand side of the map. Su losing a few drones. Not bad. And once again, you know what? Once again, Su seems to be getting hit in multiple angles. I'm still worried though, for the Protoss here. Once again, I've seen a lot of late game Zerg versus Protoss go in favor of Zerg. There's only a few Zerg players that can play that late game army well. It's very difficult to control, and the pro gamers make it look easy, but that Zerg late game army, very, very powerful. But I think Su is certainly one of them, right? Like, Su definitely is one of the best Zerg players in the world. He can definitely control that army. He's not a weak player like myself. It's kind of funny though, like late game Zerg armies, yeah, at the pro level, certainly seem to be in favor of Zerg. But, I mean, if you watch me play it, I lose with it all the time. And I like to think I'm half decent at the game. I've been playing for a long time, but controlling that late game Zerg army is very tricky. Alright, so now we have the Mothership coming up. Is he still making Void Rays? Hey, you know what I would like to see? There's a lot of Void Rays, by the way. 10 Void Rays. That's really interesting. You know what I would like to see? And I've been thinking about this for a little while. As far as like a quote-unquote solution for like the late game Protoss versus Zerg, I would like to see an upgrade again for these Void Rays. I remember they had an upgrade once upon a time called Flux Veins? Or Flux Veins? Or I don't know exactly what it was called. I think it was something like that. That basically was an upgrade you could get inside of the Fleet Beacon. That was a movement speed increase for the Void Rays. I wonder if that would be a cool thing. Like, I think if this is the kind of style that Hero wants to play against this, right? If you would be able to get an upgrade right now that makes the Void Race faster, it could definitely be a thing where you can potentially try and kill that Zerg late game army. Now, if Vipers right now are added into the mix, Vipers obviously very scary with these Corruptors. They can abduct these Stargate units with ease, do a lot of damage. But I guess per unit right now, right? So per Yank, Protoss would not lose nearly as much, other than the Mothership, I guess, but not nearly as much because the Void Ray value is not as high as that of a Tempest or a Carrier. Once again, while Zerg is trying to defend the top right-hand corner of his base, the bottom left is being picked off. I'm surprised with how little static defense he's been able to get by so far. I mean, he's finally adding on some, but really not having that much. Well, these Zealots, these Stalkers, That Immortal, or that Archon rather. They're not gonna live to tell the tale. Still a lot of damage though is being done. We once again see a nice little Protoss army. Ready to warp in and I guess sacrifice their lives for ire. While that Stargate army right now has moved over towards the center section of the map. This is the moment though where Zerg becomes very scary, right? So we have Pathogen Glands coming up, which is the Infestor energy upgrade. But as soon as that Zerg army is on the left-hand side... Ooh, good fungal growth there. Can he follow up? He's gonna try, but oh my god, all of these feedbacks getting rid of so much of that Zerg army. Yeah, no. Protoss is gonna be able to get on out of there. And at the same time, that Protoss force in the top right-hand corner dealing so much damage. Gotta say, I like the approach right here from Hero a lot. Not actually going for that many Archons either. Normally, we see a lot of players morphing in a ton of Archons, like he's getting them right now because the High Templar are out of energy, but he actually left a lot of those High Templar in their High Templar form, so they have access to the feedback spell, and that got rid of a lot of those Infestors very quickly. So 2 of them only remain right now. A couple of Vipers, or actually only 1 Viper right now remains 2. Hero, slow and steady apparently, trying to win that race. Zerg army once again ready to go for the counterattack here in the top right of the Protoss bases. The Banelings though do manage to connect still. And since they can now one-shot those mineral lines, it's pretty insane. But a couple of Zealots apparently were utilized too to pick up another hatchery. And you know what? Yeah, this Zerg army is scary, but it's not that big. Like the economy here of Zerg... Well, actually, let me rephrase that. The Zerg army is big, but his economy is not. And in the meantime, Hero, you know what? He's expanding all over the place. Really loving this super active style. This is very difficult to play, by the way, if you are a Protoss, because... I mean, right now, right? He's moving over with his entire army, and he's basically leaving the base over here mostly unprotected. Immediately, though, Hero is gonna have to prepare here for potential assault. I think that's why he's not maxing out, by the way. I think he's doing that on purpose. Like, he's not maxing out here just so he can warp in some more units. Love the addition here of Dark Templar, meant for the defense, but that base still in a little bit of trouble, but I think the Nexus should live. Yeah, Protoss army made its way back over in that direction. Carriers right now coming up, and we also had a couple of, well, actually, only a single Tempest being added into the mix, too. Anyways, this is still the moment, though, where Protoss is gonna have to play a little bit more passively, right? This is the moment where Protoss is gonna have to be more cautious, because it takes a long time for these carriers to get their interceptors, and for this Protoss army to accumulate energy. He's actually hiding the carriers for now. The Zerg army, though, has been growing steadily. Ooh, okay, apparently there was a bit of a pause in the game right here. But anyways, the Zerg army has been growing very steadily, and this is still an army that can smash that Protoss army into pieces very easily. It's like one set of neural parasites away, and I'm assuming he has that upgrade. Wait, he doesn't? Why does he not have neural parasite? He really needs to get that. I don't know why he hasn't. I'm actually like double checking this a dozen times just because I'm known to be blind in these kind of scenarios. Maybe he wants to try and actually I've seen a lot of Zerg players do that recently too. This may very well be on purpose. He wants to go for the fungal growths and then a lot of those infested Terrans. Infested Terran's obviously phenomenal, but I mean the storms can just deal with that as well. You know what? I'm seeing a lot of potential here in this Hero army. Hero is maxed out right now. 200. Still a couple of that supply, obviously, is in the... Oh, love that too. Left a big chunk of his army over there just to deal with run base. Yeah, he's got a very scary force. It's pretty much maxed out right now, plus his economy is insane. So the limiting resource for Protoss in the late game is gas. And I really hope, by the way, because I'm hyping up the Protoss here for a long time, I'm really hoping here that Hero can show us how to play and approach the late game fight. Because, well, for all we know, this might just be like a game where Su is maxing out on a very scary Zerg army and then he smashes the Protoss. But I really do like the way that Protoss is approaching this, and things are looking good for him. He can max out quite easily. The limiting resource in the late game, like I was saying, is primarily the Vespene gas. So the more he can get of that, the easier this is going to be. Then he can warp in a lot of Archons and go back up towards that scary maxed out army at 2. Su did manage to secure another base. Oh, once again, Neural Parasite being utilized there. It's revealing a lot of the army. Oh, man. These fungals are insane. Yeah, get out of there. He does manage to neuroparasite, or rather recall there before losing too much. A couple of the High Templar apparently. Also getting scratched up on their capes. For now, though. Looks like Protoss is okay. The issue is, the recall cooldown is pretty long, right? He's not going to be able to move out immediately once again. And that means Su has just secured another base. Su has been scrambling for resources for quite some time. He hasn't been able to mine very much, and right now, forcing that recall now allows him to get that other base up and running, and that will ultimately improve his count of those infestors, right? He can go for that really scary Spellcaster army. Very, very expensive. And by the way, this is not a mistake. There's a moment in the game, and this feels really bad if you're a Zerg, there's a moment in the game where you don't actually want Immortals anymore. You want to replace those Immortals with apparently Disruptors? Ooh, okay. I haven't seen a lot of Disruptor play at this point in the game either. I guess if you land a Disruptor, what's it called? Like the Nova right on top of those Infestors, you can deal a tremendous amount of damage. The Zerg players did not learn how to split their Infestors yet. We never see anyone splitting their Infestors. They're always in one big ball. I'm a little surprised he doesn't have Neuroparasite. Why does he not have Neuroparasite? It seems like such an obvious thing. Like, if you can get Neuro right now on these Tempests, that would be insane. He doesn't have it, though. And I mean, Hero is counterplaying this as if there is Neuroparasite, but there's not. Yeah, this must be intentional, though. Oh, man. That Protoss army is scary, though. I love the addition of the Disruptors here. So, they have a spell that is allowing them to blow up ground units, right? If you manage to land one of those right in the middle of that Infestor clump, that's goodbye Infestors. Still, though, the straight-up engagement, if Zerg has it the way they want it, absolutely would go in favor here of Zerg. A couple of Zealots right now running towards the other side of the map once again. Looks like they're mostly just sacrificing themselves for ire. Poor guys. Good defense here for Su. And, well, now he's getting to the point where this Infestor count is becoming ridiculous. He's gonna go up to about 19. No, actually, about 20 here. And 20 Infestors together with 10 Broodlords and then this many Corruptors and, you know, a couple of those Overseers in the mix too. That's a really scary army. Protoss, though, still mining a lot. Ooh, well, I say that. He's gonna mine a little bit less now. Or 7 of those probes do get picked off. He is securing another base. Okay, so both players actually are getting to the point where they're running out of money. Like, there's not that much mining anymore. Only 45 probes, 38 drones. This is a good position to fight, though, right? Like, that high ground advantage, not as apparent in StarCraft 2 as it is in StarCraft 1. But yeah, with Revelation, these Tempests can finally shoot at their maximum range. I love the addition here of a couple of those Oracles, too, for that Revelation spell. I'm kind of cheering for Hero right now, man. I want him to take this one home. It would be kind of disappointing. Ooh, there he is. Trying to get that Nova to connect. But it would be kind of disappointing right now if the Zerg was just defending, and then smashing this Protoss army. I wouldn't be surprised, though. I guess we'll find out. If that is the case, though, I can only imagine the balance whine in the YouTube comments. Oh, I love it. I see a lot of people complaining in the YouTube comments about balance nowadays. I guess that's one of the downsides of the channel, you know, getting bigger and bigger. I mean, there's a lot of people still interested in StarCraft 2, which is amazing. But there's this beautiful term on Twitch that people like to use called Twitch Chat Grandmasters. Where basically a lot of people love to watch the game, but they don't actually play, but they still give a lot of advice to pro gamers. Like, if you go to Cyril's stream, he doesn't stream very often, but you will see people in Twitch chat giving him advice on how to play. There we go. Ooh, he's trying to get the connection there. If these like, Infestors blow up, that's game over, man. You gotta be so cautious. Still, though, he's been dismantling this base, slowly but surely. He's once again, ooh, beautiful, looking for that Revelation. That's not gonna allow these Tempests to pick up these Broodlords one at a time. Their range for air-to-air is significantly longer than their ground-to, or air-to-ground, rather. Getting so much value. And you know what? The addition right here of the Disruptors is kind of zoning away a lot of this army, too. Wow. I have not seen a lot of people play Disruptors at this point in the game. Oh, there they go, there they go, there they go! Ooh, good connection there. Apparently, this is the moment where Su wants to pounce, but I don't think this is the time. He's been looking for a good engagement for a long time, landing some beautiful psionic storms once again too, although I think that's going to be the last of them as the High Templar all get picked off. Okay, he is going to recall his army now, but still, that was a good fight, all things considered. The base still lives though, and while a lot of infestors were picked off, Su does not have the resources right now to remake them. So he's only got 10 infestors remaining, and well, look at the amount of mining that's still happening here for Hero, or at the very least the amount of bases he's got. He should be able to replace this army relatively easily. He also has a bit of a bank still, so 2000-ish. Adding on more Void Rays. You know what? I've never seen anyone really add in a lot of Void Rays. Right now, though, I mean, obviously the reason for that is that this Zerg counter army is not so much Infestor-based anymore, but it's Corruptor-based. These Void Rays have an ability called Prismatic Alignment that allows them to deal bonus damage to armored units. And Corruptors are armored units. Infestors are not. But since most of this Zerg late-game army right now, to counter the Protoss Air, is based around the Corruptor, I think the Void Ray is a really good choice. I would love to see actually the addition again of Flux Veins. It would be very cool. Also, this song right here, I'm just gonna shut up and enjoy. This is the best StarCraft 2 song, for sure. Come on. It's not as good as Terran 3 from Brood War, obviously, or from StarCraft 1 rather, but still very, very good. Okay, so Protoss even now starting up the +3 air attack. Getting another carrier here as well. Hero playing this extremely conservatively though. I really would have expected him to pounce once again on this opportunity. He does still have a few disruptors there in the mix too. Actually, it's only a single one, but it's still enough to, at the very least, be very careful, right, if you're a Zerg here. Dude, the Revelation there, absolute key as well. This Protoss army is so difficult to control. I remember when people were making fun of Protoss being the A-move army. Try and control this, okay? You need like 4 hands. You have so many different units here to control, so many different hotkeys to micro properly, so many units to have into the right position. Because if you make one mistake, it's game over. Pseudo. Feels like this is a bit of a desperation move out, right? Like he knows there's static defense everywhere. You're not going to be able to get anything done, my man. Yeah, no, that army's not going to be able to really do that much. Right now, the Nexus on the high ground is being acquired. Very cool. Su not aware of this. He does have a couple of changelings hanging out, but he doesn't know about the fact that this base over here is being acquired. And you know what? If he gets this base over here, he can actually set up the... Yeah. That's what he's going to do, I think. Ooh, I love this. He's like, I don't know, 32.5 minutes into the game. Cannon rushing his opponent in a way. No, but seriously, if you have these shield batteries on the high ground, right, you can recharge that Protoss army while simultaneously fighting the Zerg. Now, this Zerg army, though, still found a little bit of damage. They took care of the bases in the top right-hand corner. Ooh, big fungal growth, though, being utilized, but looks like Su does not have to follow up. He's gonna attempt again. Corruptors right now moving forward, but they know about the fact that there's still a lot of prismatic alignment available in this army, as well as those High Templar with Psionic Storm. Good Psionic Storm there. A couple of the Broodlords right now being picked up as well. Mothership, though, does fall. We do see the Time Warps coming up as well. Nowadays, that also reduces the attack speed of the units in there. So trying to get the most of this, but right now, the Shieldy boys on the high ground getting so much value. Infested Terrans do pick up a lot of the Interceptors, but they are going to be rebuilt slowly but surely. Only 2 of those Broodlords right now remain. We see Hero warping in more and more of these Stargate units and getting himself more and more of those High Templar. Very gas heavy, but obviously it's still going to be a great counter here. If he can land a couple of feedbacks on these leftover Infestors, he's going to be in a phenomenal spot. I love the addition right now of the shield batteries. It's very cool. It's like static defense versus static defense, right? I mean, these Spore Crawlers obviously helping out too. Once again, Oracles landing that beautiful Revelation spell. And that means the Tempest. There you go. You can pick up a little bit of damage from a bit of a distance. That's a lot of Psionic Storm, by the way. It's 1 unit at a time, right? Like, it's not even that he's picking up that much, but it's 1 unit at a time. And it's starting to hurt. It's starting to hurt. Love the fact that he's kiting backwards as well. Su trying to make the most of this. He does manage to land a beautiful fungal growth once again, but at this point, yeah, no, the Zerg army just gets obliterated. And Hero, in an extremely well-played game, is the one who obtains the victory. Sick game. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright, and I will see you once again in the next one.